you just have to understand that shady stuff does occur, and it's just more reason to not commit 100% of their capital. I mean, anyone who had all their money in FTX, I mean, you just can't do that.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have Gareth Soloway giving us his price prediction for Bitcoin, as well as an update on the crypto market and what investor sentiment looks like across the board. Shortly after the collapse of FTX, Soloway tweeted, "Crypto and the stock market are hanging on by a thread after the FTT collapse. Investors are panicking, and with a possible deleveraging chain reaction in crypto, this could cause more bankruptcies and a stock market mini collapse." This comes on the heels of customers pulling their funds from Crypto.com over the weekend after the company's chief executive said that the cryptocurrency exchange mishandled a roughly $400 million transaction. Cryptocurrency traders are on edge following the quick collapse of FTX, which went from one of the most trusted exchanges to bankrupt in the course of a week. Bitcoin investors have been increasingly moving their holdings to self-custody solutions at a historic rate of 106,000 Bitcoin per month, following the collapse of the world's second largest crypto exchange. Bitcoin fell 22% in the 7-day stretch through Sunday, and analysts are scrambling to assess the outlook, not just for digital asset markets, but possible policy ramifications for the blockchain industry. Let's listen to this interview as Soloway gives us his newest price prediction for Bitcoin and where the market is headed in the next few weeks. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
You know, for the last year plus, I've been saying we need regulation, and I know that's kind of like taboo in the crypto markets, but like Magic said, if we want big money to get involved, and you want Bitcoin to go to 100,000 to 500,000, you have to get big money involved. And again, these funds, these pension funds, all these things, they have this fiduciary responsibility to only invest in things where they do their due diligence, they can quantify the risk. And when you don't have transparency and like anything like that, they just can't do it. And you know, if you got these big players involved, Bitcoin would soar. I mean, you know, just imagine them putting like 1% of all their assets and, you know, trillions of dollars into Bitcoin, and we're all rich, right? So, I mean, some people look at it as you know, as like, oh, don't get involved. We don't want regulation. We don't want the government to control it. I'm from the investor side, right? Always been a trader and investor in my life. I'm like, I kind of want to know if something's a fraud so I don't lose all my money. Historically, great ideas start under the best of intentions, right? And then over time, regulation or big money comes in and kind of screws it up. And I hate to say it, but it's probably going to be the way crypto goes. The only positive is if we're smart and we accumulate down here, and if it does happen to go lower, we can all go for that ride and make a ton of money along the way. But I have no doubt that, you know, when has the government actually done anything that's been great, right? I mean, it just doesn't happen anymore. So I think looking at the chart, and I can pop up my chart real quick, but basically it was a scenario where the chart was telling us we were going to go down, right? You had this classic bearish channel going on here, especially off of this most recent dump in June. And so it was just a matter of when it was going to break down. And it's the amazing stuff about it is, you know, the bearish chart, then, you know, you don't know what it's going to be. In this case, it was this black swan event with FTX. But the problem here is that you now have a breakdown of kind of this trend line that marked the low pivots all across here. And so if we can't recapture it in the next day or two, I would be really concerned that this is the next wave of selling that takes us down 12, 13, 14,000 area. Now we got to 15 and change. I was a little surprised we didn't pierce 15. Sometimes they like to pierce those even numbers, trigger stops before a bounce. But I think the Fed kind of saved it. Well, not the Fed, the CPI number saved the day. It helped get bullish sentiment on there. The one thing I'd like to point out, though, is that even with Bitcoin's move, it still comparatively to the stock market didn't outperform that much. The NASDAQ was up 7% on the day. That happens once every 10 years in the NASDAQ. Today was not a once every 10 years type epic move up in crypto. So I think we have to also kind of take that into account. And there's just a lot of damage done in crypto. I mean, we thought we got through it with Terra Luna, and now you have another issue here where the mismanagement of client funds is involved. And it just begs to ask for, I hate to say this, but we need rules for crypto. We need transparency in these companies. Otherwise, I fear that, you know, and again, I wonder how many more things out there are are going on that we aren't aware of. And I think as the market goes lower, and I do expect it to overall go lower, I think we're going to see it.
Soloway has picked up on a pattern with the 2018 market for Bitcoin from June to November. He's seeing the exact same early bounces and the flush that saw Bitcoin lose 50% of its value. Soloway says he's expecting more black swan events coming soon that will bring in the final bottom for Bitcoin.
The one thing I think is the coolest thing, I got to show this because this is just mind-blowing stuff. So let's go back to, I'm going to take you guys all the way back on my chart to 2018, right? So here we go. All right, so basically look at this low here, which was the beginning of this quiet period, right? This low began in basically, well, really it's over here in June, right? So here was your low, you got this bounce, a little bit of chop, and then it went to sleep. And remember, crypto went to sleep over the last like 2 weeks. It was super, even 3 weeks, it was super, super quiet. And then look at what happened in 2018. You had this dump, kind of pause, and then this is basically where the final flush came in. We lost 50% on Bitcoin. Okay, so again, remember June, and where did the dump start? In November. All right, now let's spin ahead here to the current price action, and what we can see is in June, again, just in 2022, that's when the low was put in. You got kind of those same early bounces here, and then we went to sleep, and then we dumped out. So it's amazing. June to November in 2018, and then the dump, June to November in this sixth segment, and then the dump. And again, I wonder if this is kind of that final move lower that could take us down 50% like in 2018, which would basically put Bitcoin around 10,000, would maybe mark a low pivot. So just kind of some cool stuff there. So let's bring up the chart here and take a look. And basically what we see is again, you broke this lower thing. And like he said, and like we talked about earlier, you have to recapture this area here. I really want to see it like a weekly close back above the low from June, which was around 17,600, give or take a little bit. My guess is it's not going to do it, just based on what we're seeing in the crypto sector. And again, I think there are more black swan events out there that will likely come to light, and it's going to freak people out. It makes them very cautious about buying down here. Having said that, I think for me, again, the 13,000 area here, if I put in a trend line, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at. So I think this is your next major support area right in here. And you can see it's this pivot high, and then there's this little blip right over here as well. And before it broke out, and that was really the breakout that started around 12.5, is what took us all the way up to that 65,000 on that first high up. Now, one of the things I liked that Magic said was that basically you can see here, if you go back to 2017 before that run, and you take a line and you connect it through the lows in 2018, so the cycle lows prior to the 2017 point, the aftermarket lows from 2018 after that cycle high, it connects right through the COVID low right here, and that gives us right around 8,000, 7,800, kind of right around that 7,500 level. So I do think if 12 and 13 area breaks, that's your next likely target. And it makes a lot of sense considering the uncertainty in crypto, the fact that, I mean, you look at the stock market, and I really tie crypto in with the stock market a lot because it's a fear factor, right? So if the stock market goes lower, and I do believe it will go lower in 2023, it's likely to take crypto down. And I think we have to always remember that, you know, this is the first cycle with no Federal Reserve stimulus, and at least for now. And even if they pause hiking rates, they're not going to go to lowering rates until inflation is substantially lower or the economy is essentially in a depression and they have no other choice.
Soloway is concerned that the crypto industry is not being disrupted proportionally and wonders how so many coins can still exist if this is the bottom. He says that even if the Fed will cease raising interest rates later this year, he anticipates a very devastating event coming soon. According to Soloway, when the market declines, the Nasdaq is truly beginning to implode, which will actually support Bitcoin. He believes the top 50 coins with legitimate use cases should survive, with the majority of currencies being destroyed. He adds that monitoring inflation essentially boils down to keeping an eye on economic indicators and gauging how quickly the economy is contracting. Markets will start to fear if horrendous economic data is observed because a recession is imminent. And since we are in a recession and inflation can only be reduced by around 6%, the Fed is unable to simply print more money, which would lead to the next leg of market declines. What do you guys think about Gareth Soloway's prediction for Bitcoin and the impact that the fall of FTX is having on the current market? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.